Welcome to Patrick and his YouTube videos on condo living. Isn't life grand? To free us up, to fulfill our bucket list. What does it mean to fulfill our bucket list? More wilderness travel. And we're going to share that with you. We're going to talk about the things you should know before you buy your strata. We want to thank you for coming along with us on series number 2, Condo Living. Next thing that we'll focus on is on buying a condo, things that you should know. And one of the things that you should know when you're actually there looking at buying the condo is having an eye on the condo in the sense of resale. How is it going to be for resale? Now that might seem a bit strange. You're buying the condo and you're quite excited about getting this condo. Well, the reason why that is the case is actually the law of large numbers, or looking at things over a long term. You can actually see that a lot of people that buy condos only have them for about 6 years. So that's why you would want to have your eye on that. If it was a single family home, actually there would be longer that they would own a home than they would be in a condo. The other thing is you'd want to look at is you'd want to consider the location, the layout, the amenities. It's important to have good medical care, someone near where your condo is, so you can get the care that you need, especially when you get older. It is very possible that a small number of people are doing resales and causing the numbers to come down to the 6.6 average. We bought into our condo here between 4 and 5 years ago, and we will certainly be staying here, and it's freeing us up to go to various different places, like you can see the one as far as Greenland behind us. And we love the wilderness, and we'll continue to do that traveling. We feel a condo will really help us. Most of the people that moved in with us at the same time about 5 years ago are still here with us, and so the 6 years is coming up. You want to do your math. And I'm not the best at math, but it's very important at doing that. You'd want to look, you know what you're paying for your insurance on the home that you're leaving, and you would want to look at what the insurance is here. Now, the insurance here is just going to be for contents, while the other was a complete home insurance and contents. So obviously, it's going to be less for the insurance here. The other thing is taxes. What did you pay there in your home? And with the condo, what are you paying for the condo? The other thing is strata fees. What are you going to be paying for strata fees? What are you going to be paying for services like gas, power, garbage, water, all of those other things that you had to pay for in the other home? Take a look at that and see what the costs are going to be. The other thing I would say to look at is the access to transit. And if you're working, actually access to employment. Also to entertainment and shopping are other areas that you would want to look at as well. And also purchasing a high-rise, you'd want to have it in a demand, you might say, area. You'd want to talk to the banker like we did and find out, even if you're not going to finance it, you find out if this is a good demand area that, again, back to resale, if you were going to sell it, you would have no problem in selling it. You'd also want to avoid buildings with lots of amenities. Now there again, you might think, well, why don't we want lots of amenities? Well, amenities and luxuries will drive the price of your strata fees up. And in a lot of cases, they're not used that much. But the thing that you do want to look for in a condo is lots of bedrooms. And if you get the legal bedrooms, that's also the best. And when you're talking about bedrooms, you would want to have bedrooms that were separated and not right together. So you'd want to have them split so that they're apart if you can, for privacy. The bedrooms also should have windows, and you would want to have condos as well that didn't have big, large hallways. So this might be a bit of a contrast in some respects, because there are going to be situations, and we'll deal with them, where you will want to have wider hallways. But in normal case, you don't want to have wide hallways. The other thing is to avoid angled walls. Some have these walls and they're not straight, they're angled. And so when you go to a furniture store to buy furniture, you can't buy angled furniture there, so they wouldn't fit in there very well. So that is the other thing when it comes to angled walls. Besides the difficulty with angled walls and putting furniture in, there's another issue too, and that's pillars and columns. They eat up a lot of space, but we know the developer has to put in pillars to hold up the roof. But if we can get our condos without one in our unit, that's great. Bathrooms are important just as bedrooms are important, and bathroom is recommended. At least 1.5 bathrooms or more is important to have. And also you want to have an attractive view, and hopefully an attractive view that will be there not for just when you bought it, but for many, many years after. Depending on where you're at, it's going to be various different views, but it's nice to have one that you'll want to look out at, or in some cases you'll want to also have things that will come periodically, like the snowbirds did for us here, and there'll be other things that you'll have. Maybe we have fireworks that come 2 or 3 times a year, and the osprey, they're special to us as well. So it's really nice to have things that is going to have you looking out the window quite often. Like us, we did some research on our developer and found out that it was a good developer. That's really important. And you can see it in the view that we have here, that the property is a valuable property. So that was important to us. We're happy to do our research and have Kirchhoff Construction as our builder. We have outside parking and visitor parking. But sometimes for some of these trucks that people buy, 3/4 ton or 1 ton truck, it's very tight to get in there. So that's something you might want to look at if you have big vehicle. In the underground parking, that is my white GMC Denali there. I have lots of room, very easy to park in there, so I'm very happy. There are some that have 2 parking spots and they've been parked one behind the other, which is not as convenient. Keep an eye on that. Now let's look at the storage. Often we don't put a high priority on our storage, but you can see some of them are fairly small, so you should also take a look at what your storage is. This would be the case also with the underground parking, depending on the size of your vehicle, whether it's going to be tight or not. For our vehicle, it had plenty of room, but not for all. I could have focused more on the storage, because storage is important. This parking spot was small even for a small car, so it's good to take a look at them. But for the most part, we have good parking. Having a condo near a swimming pool is not the best location, can be noisy. The other thing we talked about, bedrooms and the walls being split and not tight together. In a case where you're buying a condo, if you can get condos that are don't have shared walls, at least reduce the number of shared walls, that would be great, and we would keep it more quieter for you as well. The thing too that is important is looking at where you're going to have your condo. It's good to have it near a single family area. If you're in an area that there's high rises going up all over and all you see is cranes and high rises, it's not necessarily the best view. So if you can get near an area where single families are, it is said to be a better situation. Also the kitchens, it's nice if you can get a kitchen, but also a pantry where you can actually put your food, that you don't store it in your cupboards and you got no place for your pots and pans and your food and stuff like that. Should have a dining area as well. That is important. And high-end counters, because it is good to have a counter that is of good quality. The wide doors and wide halls that we said you shouldn't have because they eat up a lot of space. Well, that's not necessarily the case if someone is disabled or having difficulty. Wide walls and, as you can see, wide doors would be beneficial. So I guess I got to contradict myself there a little bit. Pay attention also to the outside envelope of your building so you don't have water egress into your units. We did very well here with the material we had on the outside of our building. In talking to a professional, we got a very good cover on our building. The envelope is very sound. So overall, we're very happy with the building that we're in. Try and stay away from the garbage pickup. I guess I don't have to say why if you're planning on sleeping in. The directions from your windows of your unit are also important when selecting the unit you want. In the east, you'll get the sunlight in the morning, and the west, you'll get it in the afternoon. If you're facing south and your windows are from the ceiling to the floor, you're going to have your blinds down on a hot, sunny day. We will be bringing series number 2 of Condo Living to a close. The reason being, we're going to have to do series number 3 because there's many things that we have to cover yet. Starline Windows has made the windows and doors in about 25% of the high-rise building construction in the past 50 years in Vancouver downtown core. For those that do have condensation problems, we will be doing a fairly extensive coverage of what you can do to prevent condensation in your home. There's a lot that you can do. I have no issues with these windows or condensation, but I know on the newer buildings they're very tight, so you want to make sure you get the water out. Also too, look at your contingency report and what you got in there and what you should have in there as well. Also too, the depreciation report. Make sure you know what you're buying and also what you're getting. Also too, the first AGM. What should you be doing? It's one of the most important meetings that you should have and you should prepare for before going to, because you're going to live with the outcomes of that for a long time after. And there's going to be much more that we'll be covering as well before we head up into the north to cover either the wilderness travels again. Thank you for coming along with us. From our $1 million view in our strata unit, we could never have the amenities that we have today without the Strata Corporation. Life is grand. Come with us on series number 3 to learn more about strata living. You can be flying high with us now. Welcome back to series number 3. There's still a lot to cover yet, and I just want to say, life is grand.